Who's any?
Okay, let's go ahead and start. Well, meeting order. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good morning. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Board of Commissioners meeting for August 17th. And we'd like to remind everybody that this is a public meeting. We are recording it via audio and video. If you do address the board, do so with your name and address. And any awards, recognitions, or correspondence?
I'll wait till the end of the meeting.
I figured you were going to want to say something,
Yeah,
so I didn't know if you were going to do it here or at the end.
No, let's wait.
Okay. Approval of previous minutes.
I don't have any this time, sorry.
Okay. Makes it easy. Any additions to the agenda?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Public input and recognition of visitors for anything that's not on the agenda? Did you want to address the board, Dave?
Yes.
Now is your chance.
Oh,
Unless
now's
you-
my chance.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. I wasn't quite sure what these guys were doing here.
Well, they're ours. They're later.
It's been a while since I had a chance to address you, and it's about the same
Real quick,
subject.
I'm going to ask you to give
Oh,
your
my
and
name is
address
Dave
for-
Price, 80488 Zorba Road, Athena. Sorry about that.
That's all right. We know who you are, but the record doesn't. So.
Yeah. I've addressed you, each time I've addressed on the same subject, and that happened to be Nolan Hills, and this time it's, as I understand it, the county has, or is going to file for a contested case on Nolan Hills. So this one is about that again, even though it really doesn't have anything to do with Nolan Hills, really. But when the DOE and the FSEC released a proposed order on August 4th, I was really disappointed in what they did. It was a disappointment in Department of Energy and FSEC itself in that they would actually do that. Now that record, and I'm sure nobody has read the whole thing because it's 350 pages.
Doug
But-
probably has.
and anyway, the part that pertains to Umatilla County specifically is on page 11. And there's a couple of things there on page 11 which are really troublesome. Now I understand that the board has retained an attorney. I believe it was Wendy Kellington, I think it was. I don't know what I think that's right.
Yeah.
I think I met her one time, but I really don't know her. Anyway, I think that's a very wise move. The one key thing in the order is, of course, the Department of Energy has maintained their position, which is that the 2-mile setback is not required. And the reason they use for not required is that nowhere in the land use plan specifically requires a 2-mile setback. Now, I find that really strange because I think probably all of us know that the land use planning process started way back in the late 70s. It was, it's been updated several times since, into the 90s. And when this land use plan thing was going, a windmill was only something you pumped water with. It had really nothing to do with windmill projects. And the other thing about it is that the land use plan, as I understand, is a big picture document. So if you're talking about goal 3, which we are here in EFU, it's a big picture document. It gives you the goal or the objective of EFU, farmland. So the county development code is a how-to document. And that's what the county's done. You have, I think, if your development code, I think it's like 140 pages or something like that. And there's a lot of stuff in it, but it's all how-to stuff that relates to the mother document, which is the state land use plan. So I don't understand that, because why would the land use plan have a requirement in it like a 2-mile setback or anything like that? It could be the variance or the setback of building on property or something like that. Why would you have that in there? So anyway, that's kind of a mystery to me. Now, the 2-mile setback is the focus, but that's really not the issue. And just a little history on that 2-mile setback thing. That's been 10 years or more ago. And the 2-mile setback, the number is not arbitrary. 2 mile just didn't come out of the air. There is a gob of documents and research and stuff that has been done throughout the world in the relationship of a wind turbine and a residence. It's been done many years ago. Now, technology has changed, I give you that. You have wind turbines. For one thing, wind turbines are larger in output, megawatts and stuff like that. But there's a lot of documentation from research that was done 10 plus years ago throughout the world that's where the 2-mile came from. It came from that. So if anybody's interested in that, my wife gives me the devil all the time for storing that stuff in the house because it takes up a lot of room, but I have all that documentation as to why it's 2 mile. Now, other people have suggested in that process that, well, why don't you use 1 mile? Or why don't you use this, or why don't you use that? The reason is that there was never any documentation to verify that number. And that's why it's 2 miles. Okay? It didn't just come out of the air. It came from all of those research documents. Okay, anyway, the issue, and it makes you wonder too, that if 2-mile setback is not required, then is any setback required? Because FSEC years ago used a 1/4 mile setback. And the reason that they used the 1/4 mile had to do with the noise law. That's what it had to do with. And they figured that 1/4 put them just about right, so they did not violate the state noise law, which is 55 decibels in the day and 50 decibels at night. And that's what the standard is, and that's what it has been as long as I've been in this business. So anyway, it's really confusing, because based on the Department of Energy FSEC thing, you wonder, well, is any setback is any setback required? Any. And that could even pertain to the distance of a turbine from a county road, because there is a setback for that too. So anyway, it's very confusing on the thing. But the issue really is not that. The issue is a challenge to the local authority. And that is you. You're the elected official of Umatilla County. And you are elected to represent those people and take care of the how-to document. That's what it's all about. So anyway, that is a very important issue. It not only will affect Umatilla County, it really will affect every county in the state. Because if a agency such as FSEC decides that they disagree with something, here's the way out. They just say it's not required. The not required part is really troublesome in that it puts the responsibility on the applicant. They give them the choice. Well, you can follow that if you want, or you don't have to. And that, to me, is totally unconstitutional. And so I think this whole thing, when it works out, is going to be a long process. It'll probably be an expensive process, but it has to be done. And the problem I see with it right now is that if the people of Umatilla County, and for that matter the other counties, realized really what was going on, I don't think they'd be very happy about that, because it is going to be a really serious precedent thing if they ever get away with it. Now, the one thing I'd like to say to the commissioners is I really commend you on standing up and taking the initiative to prepare for a contested case. And, you know, you're telling the DOE, FSEC people, we're not going to stand still for this. We're going to fight this. And I really commend you on that. That's a good job, and right on. The other thing I'd like to say about this whole thing is back to the 2-mile setback. You know, everybody, the 2-mile setback is well known almost entirely throughout the world, because it's the only one. And a lot of people in Umatilla County were involved in getting that done. And there was the petition, I believe somebody mentioned it the last time I was here, of Umatilla County people that signed a petition and said, yes, this is what we want. This is what we want. Went through a lot of legal proceedings, a lot of hearings, and all that kind of stuff. It's legally very sound. And so I want to encourage you guys and say that Blue Mountain Alliance is 100% behind you, and we really support what you're doing, and thank you very much. And that's what I wanted to say today. Okay? Thank you.
Dave. Appreciate it. Okay, anybody else want to address the board on any items that are not on the agenda? Okay,
No.
hearing and seeing none. Moving to the business items, item number 1, Harris Park purchase.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tom Fellows, Public Works Director. So what we brought before you today is a request to purchase a vault toilet for Harris Park. As you well know, over the years we tried to make improvements on a regular basis, and this year we filled out a grant request through the Wild Horse Foundation to help us purchase another vault toilet. We have 2 up there now. The third one will actually go down towards the lower end of the park, where we're starting to see a lot more activity from our patrons of the park. The cost of the toilet is $30,355.20. The Wild Horse grant is for $14,000, which will leave $16,355.20. Currently, we have a budget to take care of the other $16,000, but we're also going out for an Oregon Parks grant and if it's successful, it'll pay that $16,000 and change. So what we're asking the board is so that we can go ahead and order this vault toilet. It's about 180 days out from order, so that way we would be able to have it in for the next camping season.
What's the lower end of the park?
Down between the bridge and the manager's house. That would be downstream.
And looking at this one doesn't have a shower in it, right?
No, this is the same. These are just vault toilets. They're just
Gotcha.
just a pit toilet.
Gotcha. I would move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion, is second, any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Power Broom purchase, it's also you.
So, every year we come to the board with a list of items that we're looking for in the following year. Actually, we're still working off from our last year's list. We held up a lot of our purchases last year, not knowing what was going to happen with the COVID and the money and everything, so we cut down. So we're still working off of the same list. We had a power broom on that list for purchase. This will be actually an update of one of our older brooms. This year it really told the story. We had a couple of, I think we have 4 power brooms, and we were lucky if we managed to keep one of them operating all year this year. It was just one of those years. Everybody has them, but we decided that it was time to go ahead and update our broom situation, get something that is a little more dependable, and then in the future moving forward we'll probably continue to update our broom fleet as we can see our way clear. We're requesting to purchase this broom on HGAC contract from Pape Machinery. It's a Superior broom, DT 74J, and the cost of this broom will be $62,397.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. All fair the motion, say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Creation Position DD Program, Mrs. Beck.
Good morning. Kim Beck, Director of Human Services with Developmental Disabilities and Veteran Services. So I'm before you to respectfully request an additional service coordinator position for the Developmental Disabilities Program. The cost is approximately $110,000 annually, and we will be using carryover dollars from the DD budget, which is 100% state funded. No general fund money is requested. This position will allow us to take a current service coordinator, experienced service coordinator, and have them become a monitor. We are responsible for doing site visits and monitoring for all of our residential programs within Umatilla County, developmental disabilities, as well as foster care, adult and children's foster care, and the employment programs. And when I say our residential, I want to make sure that I'm not indicating that the county runs them. We don't, we just access those for services. They're actually contracted with the state.
Any further questions?
No, but in my discussions with finance, this is actually a position that's going to save us money compared to the old position that it's replacing. So I would move for approval.
Second.
A motion is second. Any further questions? All fair the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sheriff's Office purchase. Lieutenant Robertson.
Morning, Commissioners. Josh Roberts, Criminal Division Lieutenant, Sheriff's Office. In recent years, we've had various case rulings and litigation that has limited some of the applications of equipment that we've historically used to restrain combative individuals. And so we're looking around for a better option that reduces liability and yet allows us to restrain those people in a safe manner. And we came across the WRAP, which is from Safe Restraints Incorporated. The WRAP essentially allows a person to be completely immobilized in a seated position while maintaining a safe airway. It also allows, once the person is immobilized, to carry them and be able to put them in the car, which obviously is kind of difficult when somebody is kicking and moving about. So Captain Wolverton attended a training on this, and we agree that this is a safe and probably effective piece of equipment for us to have. We're looking for 4 units to start with. Those will be put in the supervisor's vehicles, along with 20 ankle straps. The ankle straps allow the legs to be immobilized, and so those will be in each one of the patrol cars to allow at least for leg restraint until the supervisor can get there and we can get them completely immobilized. So the cost of this is $7,602.37, and we request approval.
And I'm very much in favor of this, Josh. My question is, if we're looking at scale, will Kimberly need these for her vans, for her new vans?
I think that'd be falling in the transport deputy position that we contract CCS with, would be my understanding on that.
I can't speak to that for certain. I do know that I believe the jail has one of these already. That's kind of what turned us on to this for patrol. And so I imagine that as the contract position would be met by the sheriff's office, I would assume that we would be utilizing these as needed.
It seems to be a program that probably needs to be expanded as soon as we can afford it, at least scale it up to not just criminal, but also.
You don't want one, do you?
Do I want one or need one?
Criminal, it's mental.
I think I think it's more combative than mental.
No, I spent 30 minutes in downtown Salida, Colorado about 3 weeks ago watching police officers attempt to put a woman into a car.
Wow.
Who did not want to be put in, and it was, I mean, I felt sorry for them because, you know, everybody's taking pictures and stuff, and they were doing the best they could, but, I mean, it's a very risky situation for them.
I envision that this could be used even outside of combative individuals. That's our intent, is that the people who are super combative and kicking out windows and banging their head and that kind of thing, that we have a safe way to immobilize them and yet maintain their health and well-being. But high-risk individuals, I would anticipate for some of those transports. I know the criminal division will be assisting with some of those as well. If there's the potential for an outburst, this could also probably be deployed and used as well in anticipation of problems.
One other mechanical question: are these transferable between vehicles? If you get a new vehicle, is this one still transferable? And are they certified each year?
I don't know about certification, but they are transferable.
Okay.
They're portable units. So.
Perfect. I move for approval.
Hey,
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Thank you, Commissioners.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Public health position.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is Alicia Lundgren, Deputy Director with Umatilla County Public Health. I have an item before you today discussing a reclassification of a position for our school-based health centers. For some background context, in 2019, we were tasked with restaffing our 2 school-based health centers at Sunridge Middle School and Pendleton High School. And part of the way that we set up that staffing was hiring a 0.8 FTE nurse practitioner, some counselors, and a medical assistant. Since then, the medical assistant position was vacant September of last year. And through some grant funding, we also recently hired an office assistant position to help support and provide some additional secretarial support for the health centers and the staff that work there. While the medical assistant position was vacant, we had some team discussions just about some difficulty in recruitment for that position, getting limited applications and interest in the position, as well as discussing what the need and support was for the team. And currently our provider, our nurse practitioner, who would be the one that could utilize the skills of a medical assistant, is really finding that that's not what they need. What they're needing is more true office support and handling of the front desk. And so today we're requesting to change the medical assistant position to an office assistant position with the same FTE. And then that would give our school-based health centers 2 office assistant 2s to support the operation of both of those health centers having the doors open 5 days a week during the school year. All of this funding for these positions would be paid for through our school-based health center budget that doesn't get any county general fund.
She answered
Question?
You already answered my question, the general fund question, so thank
All
you
right.
for that.
And I'll also share that any changes that we make with staffing or changes that we request for staffing with our school-based health centers, we also review with our stakeholder group that helps fund the school-based health center. So that's the school district and the St. Anthony's Hospital. We meet 3 times a year to discuss any major changes that we would make like this. And they were in support of the adjustment in the spring. When we were kind of theorizing if we needed to make this change because we weren't really getting the MA spot filled and the staff were really more looking for office assistant support. And that was actually why we lost the last MA. They weren't really using their MA skills. And they were like, I'm just a secretary and I want to go actually do MA stuff. So that was some of the feedback that we've received so far.
What's your feelings on being able to attract the office assistant positions?
We did just fill one, and we did receive several applications for the position when we recruited for the one that was grant funded. So I'm optimistic that we should be able to fill the position.
Thanks, Alicia.
Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion, a second, any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Department ordinance amendment, public hearing. So we'll suspend our regular meeting and go into public hearing mode at this time.
Okay, what's before the board is an amendment to the department organization ordinance as well as the chart that goes along with that. This is primarily to reflect changes that have occurred since the last time this was done in 2002. So, excuse me, that's 2010, I believe, is the last ordinance update on this. What is before the board is for the first reading of it and to schedule a second reading. There are primarily changes to the Human Services Department, which is now developmentally disabilities, along with some other minor changes in the other departments. And if you want to go to the last page, please. And then this is the current proposed version of the org chart. It has all of the updated names for the departments, as well as added to the board area a number of 10 categories of areas that the board is involved with.
Thanks for bringing this back to us, for sure. Public hearing, sorry.
Okay. Any public comments or questions from the public to Doug? Questions, comments from commissioners?
Thank you.
All right. Okay, hearing no questions, we will, at this time, we will come out of public hearing mode and go back to our regular scheduled meeting. So now we just need to schedule a second
Yes,
hearing?
and if it's agreeable with the board, the date of the next meeting would be suggested September 7th.
No objection.
September what?
7th.
Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and schedule it for that.
Okay.
Do we need to make a motion?
Yes.
Okay. So we make a motion for that hearing date?
So moved.
Second.
A motion is second for discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Pipeline consultant. Do you want to do that or you want me to do it?
Fine either way.
Go ahead, you're.
Okay. What's before the board is an authorization to contract for a consultant to assist with the Central Pipeline project. This individual would review the design of the system and be able to, through their expertise knowing irrigation systems, assist the county in making sure that the system will operate as planned. And so what's before the board is to authorize a contract with Michael Bergstrom to be a consultant for the Central Pipeline project.
Where's he from?
Hermes.
His son, coincidentally, is the,
What?
his son, oddly enough, is the COO, I think, for CCS.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he's a local guy. Any further questions? This time I would entertain the motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Now we've reached the end of our agenda, so any commissioner comments? I'm gonna save you for last, so. Commissioner Murdoch.
No. I think we have already, talked enough about the fair, so
That's right where I'm going.
That's what I knew, that's where you're
Well,
headed, so.
from my standpoint, I've talked enough about
I
it.
think I have too.
I'm gonna defer to you for that.
The 2022 Umatilla County Fair and the Farm City Pro Rodeo were exceptionally grand, to be honest with you. Starting with the livestock sale, last year's sale ended up after the bump and had on 792,000. This year, even though all the numbers aren't in yet, it looks like it's going to be close to 1.1 million. It's just amazing. The community support that livestock sale has. The steers alone were $455,000. That's just mind-boggling to me.
Well, 10 or 15 of them didn't show up.
Yeah, that is exactly true. And another 7 of them were sold outside the ring, so that didn't count into it. So it was just an incredible year. But not just that, the concerts were all full. Surprisingly to me, the acapella group sold out first and was probably had the biggest crowd. They were an incredible group. Home Free definitely is a group of kids that I would like to see again. They were beyond impressive.
I think they're gonna be too expensive for the county fair next year.
They're gonna be too expensive for sure. They were just amazing. The Latino night, as always, just keeps growing. We didn't think, because we scaled back some of the entertainment, we didn't think that we would have the size of crowd that we had last year, but once again, they outdid themselves. The Farm City Pro Rodeo had an additional $20,000 added, so it's over $350,000 in added money, or in payout. So Saturday night was the first time since the new facility that every seat was full. Both east and west grandstands, all the grandstands were full. It was loud. It was very impressive, to say the least. But I want to take my hat off to the Umatilla County Fair Board, to Angie and Diana, for what they accomplished, and all of the things that I personally asked of them, that we asked them to go through each year. It's I know it's just in some cases another department, but it operates a little different. That fair board has always been known throughout the state as a working fair board. It continues to do that. It continues to shine. I was up there yesterday, or last evening, helping on some of the cleanup, and the fair board was still there cleaning up yesterday afternoon. And it was hot, and by this time most of us are kind of on the grumpy side at that time of night, and they still had smiles on. So. And beyond that, I'd also like to thank Umatilla County, the staff, Robert and his staff, and Marie, for everything that they do for the fair on the money side, and the ability to make sure that those dollars transfer from the gates to the right spots, to make sure that invoices get paid, that everything gets done. When they say it's a Umatilla County team event, it really is, from top to bottom. I don't know what we're going to do for RV spaces in the future. When you're turning away over 25 RVs, it's kind of back. We have twice the RV spaces that we did at the old facility, and I remember one year we turned away 25 at the old facility, and the whole world seemed to come to an end for a lot of families. And it's tough. We don't want to discourage kids from coming at all, so we'll look at solutions to that, including modifying the fence on the airport. It may include dry camping for a couple of years for the local kids, but at least they'll have a place to plug in air conditioner and those type of things. partnership between the city and the county on the additional expense for the power for the RVs was invaluable. Much smoother than last year because everybody, the vendor and everybody else had been through it once. So I guess I was mostly encouraged by listening to the fair board throughout the week and the rodeo board talking about what and how to make things better. And the grounds looked amazing. Chrysanthemums, Chris and Doug Bennett with the flowers at the barns, dressed the barns up as, they looked as well as any barns I've seen anywhere, show-wise. And I truly believe that enthusiasm on continuing to make our fair and rodeo better is contagious. And I think it lasts all year round. So I'll end just by saying thank you to everybody, the volunteers, sponsors, the county, Robert's staff, the board, and especially Angie and her group. So thank you.
I do want to tag on to the thanks to, safety-wise, the fair was, we didn't have any major events, and I was, every time I turned around, there was a law enforcement officer somewhere, whether it was sheriff's office, Hermiston PD, Pendleton PD, Pilot Rock. And the county was well represented, and same with the medical teams. We had a lot of different medics on site too, so I want to give my thanks to them.
There's 2 roads one night. Is this the year that the contract with
Venue Works.
Venue Works ends?
Ends. We actually, Byron and I have a meeting on Friday that we have received the $1 million from the state to start moving forward with the expansion of the barn. So that next step is just to get together and see how that financially flows, and we're doing that Friday. The contractor is basically ready. The nice
Chat
thing
about that next Monday morning.
Yeah, let's add that on our.
The nice thing is the drawings are on the table.
Good.
Well, I wouldn't want to talk so much about the barn, it's the Venue Works for the management
That venue works. Yeah.
Monday morning.
Yep.
Okay. Any final thoughts?
No.
Okay. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.